Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the hidden dangers of a machine you probably see all the time, and we're going to break down the absolutely critical rules that are designed to prevent a total catastrophe.
Just take a look at this scene. This isn't just some random workplace oops. This is something that happens thousands of times a year, often with consequences that are just devastating.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The risks here are so incredibly severe. We're talking about everything from life-altering crush injuries all the way to fatalities. And this is exactly why there's a specific rule book designed to stop these things from happening in the first place.
Okay, so let's really dive in here. First up, let's try to understand why these powerful machines demand so much respect and so much caution. The scale of this problem, it's kind of staggering. Every single year, thousands of workers get injured in incidents with what OSHA, that's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, calls powered industrial trucks. Thousands. Just think about that, for a problem that is, for the most part, preventable. So, what's the official response to all this? Well, that brings us to the rule book, the framework that's built for safety. This standard right here, it governs everything we're about to talk about.
First things first, what are we actually talking about here? We might all just say forklift, but the official term, powered industrial truck, or PIT for short, it's way broader than you'd probably guess. So yeah, of course, it includes the classic forklift we all picture in our heads. You know, the workhorse of pretty much every warehouse and distribution center on the planet. But it also covers these really specialized machines, like these incredible high-reaching trucks. They're specifically designed to stack things way up high in super tight, narrow aisles. And then you've got the real heavy hitters. The definition even includes beasts like this one, a rough terrain forklift that's built to handle all the mud, gravel, and uneven ground you'd find on an outdoor construction site. So you've got all these different machines, warehouse trucks, high-reach trucks, rugged outdoor models. They look totally different, but here's the thing. They're all playing by the exact same rules, the laws of physics, and that is the absolute key to operating them safely. It goes way beyond just knowing how to steer. So what's the number one danger, the one that's most often fatal? It's the tip over. And the reason it happens so often, well, it all comes down to a really simple but incredibly critical concept from physics.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. It's all about something called the stability triangle. It's this invisible three-point area created by the wheels. As long as the combined center of gravity, that's the truck plus its load, stays inside that triangle, you're stable. But if you shift that center of gravity just a little too far out, by turning too fast, carrying a weird load, or raising the forks too high, it can tip over in a heartbeat. And this shows so perfectly that proper training isn't just about the truck itself, learning its controls and capacity. It's just as much about understanding the unique place where it's being used. Everything from slippery floors and people walking around to trinky ramps and those dangerous loading dock edges.
So you've got all this knowledge an operator needs to have. But how do you make sure they don't just learn it, but actually master it? Well, OSHA has a very specific, structured process for that.
It's all built around this mandatory three-step process. First, you get the book smarts, lectures, videos, that kind of thing. Then you move on to practical, hands-on training where you actually operate the machine. And finally, you've got to prove you know your stuff in a formal evaluation. You can't skip a single step.
And a huge piece of that practical skill is something that has to happen every single day before every single shift, the pre-operation inspection. An operator has to check all these key parts, and if any one of them is messed up, from the brakes to the backup alarm, that truck has to be taken out of service immediately. No exceptions.
All right, so we've seen the rules. Now, let's see what happens when they're broken. We're going to walk through a real-world case, and it's tragic, but it was also completely 100% preventable.
So, picture the scene. An operator is moving a heavy load. But here's mistake number one. The first link in a very bad chain of events, the forks are way up high in the air while they're driving. Next, they take a corner way too sharply. With that load already high up, the machine's entire center of gravity is thrown way outside that stability triangle we just talked about. And at that moment, it's already too late. The tip over is happening. But even then, there was one last piece of safety equipment that could have made a difference: the seatbelt. It's designed to hold the operator inside the protective cage of the cab. But it wasn't being worn. And the result is just heartbreaking because it was so preventable.
The operator was thrown from the cab and crushed between the machine's overhead guard and the ground. A fatality, all caused by a sequence of broken rules.
And this is the biggest takeaway, really. It all comes down to a few simple, consistent habits that can literally be the difference between a normal day at work and a tragedy. Wear your seatbelt. Keep the load low when you travel. Slow down on turns. Do your daily inspection. And always, always yield to people on foot. These aren't just suggestions. They are lifesavers.
So that really leaves us with a final thought. For you, safety isn't just some rule in a binder or a poster on a wall, right? It's a shared responsibility that takes constant attention from everyone. So think about it. What's the one thing at your workplace that could be made safer starting tomorrow?